Hey, so this video is going to be a process video about how I made this painting. It's a finished sketch. I show how I started it, and then there's a time lapse to the end, and then I just talk about it a bit at the end. I hope you enjoy, and yeah. Okay, so we have a reference here, and the thing is, I don't like to directly copy references, but I like to take pieces that I like from them or the feelings I'm getting from them and sort of repurpose them for just general abstract ideas when I first started a painting. So as you can see, we have a blank canvas, so we're starting off completely blank, and nothing can stop us. Let me make my references a little bit smaller here so they're not getting in the way of any painting. So it's not as important. Once I get into the painting, you'll see like the references are kind of just there to guide me if I need something to guide me. But what I'm noticing is the references that I seem to lean towards, also because of Pinterest, are more vertical, large, very graphic read sort of stuff with like large shapes cutting through the composition. So I want to try to attack that. So first, what we're going to do is give myself some tone because I really do not like working right on a white canvas. So I just fill that first layer with some tone. Then I'm gonna take a darker color, like a darker, warmer color, to act sort of as like a pencil, and I can start marking in my composition. So I want some of that. We have a cut here. Ocean. Yeah. And just to look at some of these references with these interesting compositions, I'm noticing like a bam bam sort of thing. So yeah, so to explain sort of where my head at, or where my head's at right now, most of the time when I'm starting off, I really am trying to capture some sort of abstract feeling. So it's really not directly representational. Like I prefer surrealist art most of the time, and so when I'm looking at like art that isn't surrealist, it's more representational or like story driven or expressionist. I tend to like try to decipher it in a surrealist way, like that this I have no clue what this stuff is. Like why am I appealed? Like why does it appeal to me? But we'll see what I can do here. I'm adding in some like darks and some shapes. We'll see what I can do with these. I just sort of come in here, get like maybe a sense of perspective, like we're looking down on something. I'm noticing I'm like sort of, I start to like mirror whatever composition is up on my references. But we will have a piece that ends up looking like none of the references in particular. But this is an interesting way to just do a painting. Okay. Cool thing as well is I don't know what this is going to look like, but I'm hoping it will come out interesting. I haven't posted a long video in a little while, so I wanted to just like make something long, less editing that I have to do, and just send that out. Okay, so like I could get in here and like make a big statement. So the thing that once you set up some sort of like little shapes or anything, I'm going to go on a different layer. I'm going to add in like a light shape. I'm noticing a lot of these things have like light shapes at the top. I don't want it to be completely straight like that. This one has light shape at the top. This one does like mirror the sky. But go through here, adding some dark here. I'm not sure what this could be yet. Someone said it to me recently, and I remember the idea. So there's a YouTuber named Cynics, who I'm really fond of. I've been watching his videos like ever since I started doing digital art, and he talks about this paint exploration technique, and I kind of tend to use ideas like that. Like I'm doing paint exploration where I might not know where I'm going to end up, but I'm going to let the painting sort of take me wherever it wants to go. And that's usually really fun for me. So this is starting to look like some sort of figure. Once I see like shapes that kind of look like light and dark shapes, I try not to mess with them too much. I just let them sit, be with themselves. It kind of looks like something sticking out. It's gonna be a rock. This could also be a landscape. I don't like what this is. I can start to build a narrative if I want. But I generally like not being locked into a narrative too early on in a painting, especially when I don't have like any information really in there yet. But a lot of times a human narrative works. So I think if I bring this on here, yeah, it's starting to look like something. A lot of people sort of ask me sometimes if my work is if I use an AI base or something like that. I do not use an AI base. I am not a big fan of like image generation models, and that's just because I have found that I prefer to sort of come up with these ideas myself. And that's just my preference. Some people are able to use them to get like interesting results. I see them as sort of like kind of shammy right now, hacky. In terms of like art, it feels like it's making it like automating the artistic process feels insane. Having things that maybe, like I don't have to go out and mix colors or buy colors to mix when using Photoshop. I get Photoshop and it's a pre-packaged way to, have a painting medium. And a lot of the things are automated. However, my creativity is like what allows me to like push it to a unique place. And I think with a lot of AI stuff, it's sort of like resting on the AI to do like the creative work for you, like make the interesting decisions, and they tend to not be so interesting. Okay, if I've mapped out some stuff, I'm gonna actually change my color that I'm using. I want to go for like a more traditional feel right now, so I'm actually also going to use some different textures now in the painting. So the cool thing about this process, where I'm starting with like a bunch of references and I'm like sort of just blocking out light and dark shapes with just trying to make them interesting, minimal color focus, mostly just shape focus and a little bit of value focus, but mostly shape. We're like arriving at something that is coming quickly, and I'm gonna be able to do whatever I want with it. And I can be guided by any one of these beautiful paintings because they're showing how to work out certain ideas, like how to show this, like certain lighting scenarios, or how to do certain things with the canvas. So I'm just gonna paint some stuff. Yeah, no, I haven't done anything nice and green in a while, but I don't really want to. I think I still know what I want to do for this painting, but let's see. I may want to keep it relatively like surreal as well. And sorry if you wanted to see how to paint like a beautiful face or something, or another like fantasy like cartoony looking knight. But yeah, no, I tend to like switch up what I want to work on often, like in order to keep myself creatively fulfilled and enjoying myself. So here I'm just starting to add a little bit of color, maybe define some shapes, stuff like that. I'm going to try to get some stuff done quickly here. And I'm going to look at like Andrew Weiss work. Also, I think I want to take this and make it smaller. So what that does is that gives me this huge plot of land to bridge the gap here. And that's giving me like it should be cut down. Alright. I don't know why this shape is lighter. This is like sort of sky, clouds. That's cool. So the color is feeling like sort of really gray. We're like staying way into the grays, warm grays and stuff. And I'll show you how I sort of can get out of that situation. I'm like stuck in the grays. But I'm seeing like a down angle here. I'm gonna like stick with this down angle, I think. Because I want to make this like relatively, not like short, but like concise. I don't want to just be painting for like 4 hours and talking about it. That's not going to be easy for me to do, so try to keep this around an hour or something. Yeah, so I'm seeing like a bit of a perspective now, so kind of rock with it. Seeing a bit of space with these shapes. I'll rock and roll with it. I can sort of zoom in. A lot of people tell young artists, like I was told, like don't zoom in, stay at one place. But once you get comfortable with knowing why people are saying that, like you're understanding that people are saying that because getting too caught up into detail without a sense for the bigger picture can sometimes, if you have specific intentions, hurt your image. However, if you are like in tune with like the idea that composition is sort of rules all, like your overall statements will carry the painting, and like any amount of little detail in like an overall boring composition might not save it. You know, that's it's fine to do whatever you want, I think. So if you're wanting to like attempt a process similar to this, where you're sort of exploring through painting, I would simply do whatever feels right. Let it be intuitive, sort of fall into the process. That's what I'm trying to do here. These light and dark shapes. This kind of still feels like a person, so I'm gonna lift up and I'm gonna rotate here. So I like the shape here. Okay. Kind of like just going crazy on it, but that is really how I do things. Like I don't paint like this every day, or with this like color palette, or with anything in particular like this, but I do like this energy when it comes to painting. Of just, I sort of see, when I start to see the sense of space, when I start to see certain shapes, I try to catch them and hold on to them in some way. going there. Yeah. Alright, let's make these colors more interesting now that we have something. So I can go over here and see what happens when I do certain things. I'm just changing, I'm flipping through these layer modes right now. Don't want to go too far into the darks or lights, but this composition is looking cool. I'm looking at like the small little layers tab, and I'm seeing like the little layer view, and I'm thinking this white thing here can work, and then I can actually continue it in here. I don't know what these shapes will be, but having maybe more of them, and then maybe like a big cross section here, moving back down. Paint over that. Alright, and so looking at like Andrew Wyeth's work, he uses value in such an interesting way, and like his compositions are always so interesting and striking. I'm gonna try to inject some color into mine though. So I found a layer mode that has like an interesting variation with color. It was the difference mode, so I'm gonna like duplicate that over top of my entire all my layer structure, and then I'm going to change that layer mode, and we'll see if it provides us with anything interesting. This actually is. It's like giving me really red. If I tone that down a bit. Yeah, when I zoom out, I really I'm starting to like the tones here. But it's starting to feel very, very just warm with like no cools and no respite from the warms. But you know, I think we can deal with that. So I'm gonna go through a color range selection. Select all these like warms. I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm going to play with the hue. So we can have that saturation. I could turn the saturation up or down. I think up could be interesting. Play with the value as little as possible. It kind of looks like I put a filter on it, but you can actually change the layer mode. Pin light is interesting because that's making things darker. Again, I don't want that. I think I'm going to go with the normal mode. I'm going to paint that in with a mask. And I think I'll use a different brush. Maybe a soft texture brush. And maybe define some shapes in a different way. So, you know, even through all this time, I'm still not exactly sure what I'm painting here. Right? But it's... The process is so fun. Like, if you just skip to the end of this video, I guess you could see. And then it could be kind of fun to see how I had, like, got to this point. So feel free to do that and come back. And you let me know if it worked out or not. Alright, so I'm just like interspersing this with some cools. Let's try to give it a little bit more structure though. The thing is, like, when you're adding color variation, if you also add it with like an attention to shape detail and like language of your shapes, like what they're telling you, where they're moving you, what they're indicating, you're going to have a much more interesting quality of the colors. It'll be a lot less interesting when you have less of that, I found. Okay, so we're still working, if I turn it to gray, we're still working with like a relatively low, like middle to low key contrasty image. So It's kind of what I want. Just gonna light this up. Light this up too. Give me more of this white color over here. It's like egg, yellowy white. Put it on top of these things down here, and I'm going to use a lasso tool. I like using just different ways to lay in the paint. That gives me some like interesting variation, even if I don't use a lot of different brushes. Using different like just techniques to lay in your paint, it can give you a lot of cool variation that if you just paint everything the same way, you will not achieve that. So I'm going to do a selection here. I'm going to get some color, and I'm going to try to inject some color into this whole thing. Some green, yellow. Maybe we'll have it like roll. Be very like striking. Like this just takes your eye away from everything that's going on at the bottom. We'll see if I stick with that. No. Let's see what goes with this green. What goes with that? No, not that. Yeah, maybe some of that. Very soft right now. So this feels smoky in the background or cloudy. Give some like soft cloudy shapes. This feels like a giant rock or something peering over. But I might make this guy at night. We'll see. Play with these values a little bit. And I'm starting to feel like looking at my references will help me in a second. We'll see. Let me just pause for a second. Okay, so I have an idea that I'd like to share. So at different levels in your painting, when you're at different painting stages, so say like this is still, I would say like mostly we're in the block-in stage. I think if you're looking at certain references, as opposed to looking at them in a way to like, oh, how do I draw this or how do I draw this? I think it's important to sort of decide what level of sort of fidelity that you want this part of the picture to be seen in. Kind of like your focus, like where do you want your focus to be, as if you're like using a camera, and using your reference to sort of indicate like, okay, I like this level of detail for this, and this also goes with like how much you'd like to zoom in. But like if I want to achieve this level of detail in my reference with this level of zoom on my painting, I'm gonna stay here, I'm gonna sit here for a minute and try to work out some shapes that maybe help me with that. So like cutting into things with a darker tone. Cutting under things. Cutting over things, and let's bring in some color. But guys, this is super fun for me to also just talk about it, share it. Even if 50 people see this, even if 10 people see this, it's so fun to share my process, and hopefully like get some people excited to go and paint themselves, or make new friends, because I'm sitting here alone in my room doing this, and it's like it can get kind of tough sometimes, but my friends really help me. I love making new friends who are like-minded when it comes to wanting to achieve some artistic goals, process goals. I'm not liking this structure here right now, so I need to simplify it with that, maybe with the lighter shape. Maybe we could come around here and show a bit of perspective by getting some shapes here. Let's really go down. Let's dig down here. Okay, and sometimes I make accidental shapes, so I'm getting a little bit quiet here at this part of the process because it's starting to get intense. No, but it is starting to get where I have to start to focus on like what things mean, what I want them to mean as well. So slowing things down. If I can inject some more color, how do I do it? Cutting. We're sort of working it out like a puzzle. What makes this more interesting? Maybe if we took my soft texture, cut into it with some shapes here. And I think I might lift this up. So I'm going to duplicate that. Actually, lift that. It's starting to look like a woman. I don't like the pose that's in though. It's a little bit creepy, so let's maybe this is a fallen angel. Adding in some color here, dark shapes. Alright. Okay, so I'll start to define things a little bit more, figure things out, and I'll come back. Once I do, I'm going to give it a pause, and then we're going to see things at a different point, but I'm mainly going to be doing a bit of the same stuff, like working things out, and I'll discuss whatever things I actually change a lot. I won't take that long. Okay, so I just defined some things a bit more, and now we're going to be doing that even more, where I'm going to talk about it. So this kind of feels like a shield shape, so I'm going to make it so it's carrying a shield like that, and that way we can sort of cut back into here. Make sure my mic is in a place where it's not popping a lot. Define this sword-like thing here. Alright, once we get to 50 minutes, no matter where this stands, I will finish it off with the time lapse. But until then, we'll just talk about it. So, I mean, I think the most important parts of the process are the beginning, middle, and end. But I think the most important parts really are just whenever you really have to, like, make a puzzle for yourself that you're fixing. And that's kind of what this process is. And kind of what my philosophy is. It's like you create puzzles and you solve them. The puzzle may be, or riddles, you know, the puzzle may be like, how do I represent, you know, like a warm sunrise, but give it a sort of melancholic mood. Maybe you have a memory that you want to recreate, or a feeling that you remember that you think is really strong. Well, the way you do that is that's your puzzle that you created, and on the canvas you can do as many solutions as you want, but just take your time and do them. Like here I have a bunch of strokes and interesting things going on, right? I didn't define things that much more than they had been previously, but here we could just say, maybe all of this is getting more light. And since we're sort of looking down on this, maybe that's getting darker. So a weird aerial view. We cut here and make a super graphic shape there. I think that could work in some way. And come in with this color, this grass. And honestly, I'm having the feeling I kind of want to extend this canvas down, so let's do that a little bit. I want a little bit more space on my canvas here. So I'm going to let it crop. let it take its time, some time to think, and then I'm gonna duplicate this. Wait, that's actually interesting. An interesting moment here. Huh. I got some weird, even cooler shapes. Let's see. I like the structure of these. Let's bring this over top. We're going to start doing some real Lucati stuff. And we're going to start using our painting to paint our painting. I think it's time to do that. That's what sort of speeds up my process a lot too, is like once I get to the point where like, okay, got a composition kind of defined, I can just start painting with my painting. So we'll just choose darker color here. And you know, I actually like some of these darker colors. But I want to keep some definition here. Maybe bring just some of this down. I don't like how red that is. Maybe make it more blue. Yeah. And pull here. I'm still in darker color, but I'm going to go to another layer over. And this white has no life in it, so we're going to give it a little bit of life. Like that. I can kind of curve this a bit, following the same idea. To make sense. Okay, so I'm seeing a bit of perspective. I'm wanting this perspective to be pushed a bit more, so what I'm going to do is actually take some of these and move them down, make them a bit smaller. Back. So like looking down at it a bit more. I'm going to work this out with my pencil. I'm going to try to take these slower here. Let's recognize where some things don't make sense, like here. Here. Be a bit cooler. Just finding some shapes down here. And kind of stopped looking at my reference. I mean almost immediately, but it's still leaves me with some interesting stuff. This feels like it could be a shield now. Like I got rid of that shield idea earlier, so I can bring it back over here. This is some sort of shield or idea of one. And now I'm starting to get the idea that this is like a giant beast. And we're just looking at the head on the side here. Oh, okay, that's a cool idea. Let's rock with it. Let's rock and roll with it. Let's do it. I kind of also want to lift the whole composition up a bit. Yeah, it's feeling like it's at the bottom of the canvas. I'm gonna merge some of these. Oh, I'm gonna do this and then merge some of these. And so we can see a previous version. Some interesting shapes. What did I lose here? Lost some of this simplicity. So I'm going to duplicate that, and I will take this, lift it up over there. Horizon line is still back here. Okay, now this is giving me even more interesting ideas, so I'm going to try to follow them. Warping this a bit. Giving this like a sense like it's covering up some other stuff so it feels like I can control this idea of the beast. Maybe I want to be bold. No color. To be, but like this, and then maybe some. Here. Give this like a bit of reflectivity. So make it like that. On the soft brush, come over here with the darker color. Maybe continue more. It's that idea. Kind of looks like an eyeball now. Just a little bit unnerving to see that eyeball there, but you know, maybe this is like a giant weird flesh thing. Alright, yeah, this is coming together as an interesting painting. I'm still seeing some things that are sort of like I need to take it back to a different type of stage. So like what paintings have a really nice, yeah, this has a really nice graphic look. So how do I move it towards this? Well, you can kind of say think, okay, maybe that's getting in the way of that edge of that coat. Maybe this is a part of the beast. Yeah, maybe it has like pustules and stuff. So I'm starting to draw little things, have fun with different parts of it. Defining things. I'm staying out at this level right now though. I think I can move down with that value. Take that down. Pick some of these up. Give me some of this. What would this do? Just had a weird idea. Like what? Yeah, some really bright green stuff just sort of moving through. Yeah, that would be weird as hell. Why not? It like breaks up some of this monotony I'm feeling to have this bright green thing. We'll sort of try to cancel it out. You know, extend some of that. I kind of want to like just show something weird, grotesque over here that feels like flesh or something. Who knows what this will become. Alright, quite weird. You have quite a weird way of coming at painting, but I think we can save the rest for a time lapse for the most part. I'll define some things I think will work here. Birds or something floating away. Some of these light shapes, but I mean, interesting composition, right? Weird. You have weird colors and everything, but we started to develop an interesting composition that, you know, I could play around with. And that's the beauty of this process. We're almost at about like 50 minutes. So the rest of this I'll try to keep as a time lapse, and maybe I'll talk a bit at the end, maybe not. But yeah, thank you for joining me and doing this sort of sketch. This idea. There's a lot of places I think I could take this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. I'll record it, and it will be at the ending part of this video. But yeah, basically, I start with sketch, and then the rest of the process is sort of like working out story things, and maybe I can make a separate video at some point about finishing a painting or making a painting more finalized. But yeah, we'll do the finish so you'll be able to see it, and yeah, thanks for watching.
Alright, so we have the finished painting here, and I think it turned out pretty interesting. I'm not sure if I would actually call it a finished painting, but more like a finished sketch. It turned out interesting. I had definitely did a lot of like work trying to make these colors work, these like yellowish greens. So I took a bit of the punchiness out. I maybe lost some of this like natural graphic flow that it had, but I see this as something where the ideas that it gives you can take it a lot further, and it has a lot of interesting ideas in it compositionally. I think there's some, it's just an interesting composition. So yeah, this is what came out. If you enjoyed listening to some of the process and watching the rest, feel free to like and subscribe. Let me know if you want any specific types of videos in the future. Otherwise, I have a lot of ideas, but here I just wanted to drop a painting process. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll probably be seeing you soon in some way or another.